We are seeing signs that the country's food supply chain is under significant stress.
States of emergency across the nation as a number
States surpassed 25 million cases.
Empty shelves might become the new normal for a while.
Dairy farmers have been led to dump their milk.
Small restaurants across the country are really struggling, according to a recent study.
As the country's food systems deal with the fallout and disruption from COVID-19, one thing has become alarmingly clear. Our food supply systems are broken. Industrial big agriculture has shown itself to be too big and too vulnerable to adapt, threatening our food supply. But this pandemic has also brought attention to alternative food systems, relationship-based systems that center health, sustainability, justice, and the environment. These systems are not only stepping up to meet the current moment, but also offering a more equitable and resilient future. We call these systems small food. This is the story of how one small food system relied on its direct relationships with suppliers, farmers, and processors to overcome challenges during the pandemic. In early 2020, as the coronavirus spread across the country and shutdown orders were being put into place, the Founding Farmers Restaurant Group faced a difficult future.
I never thought I would face a day when I was eliminating the jobs of 1,100 people. It's awful. It's not really 1,100. It's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 over 1,000 times. And each one of those represents a family and then starts to ripple back up the supply chain.
Farmers Restaurant Group runs 7 restaurants, a bakery, and a distillery across the Mid-Atlantic, all of which are majority owned by the family farmers who make up the North Dakota Farmers Union.
I keep bees because my grandfather kept bees. We've been selling to the Farmers Union for 2.5 years now. When the coronavirus crisis hit, I was really worried that the Farmers Union and the Founding Farmers weren't going to need any of my honey for months. And we had no idea when they were going to need more.
When we got the order to shut down, our biggest fear with the vendors that are supplying the restaurants was how they were going to deal with it. Frustrating for me to not be able to buy their product, and frustrating for them because they relied on that income.
We knew we could either be knocked down and knocked out, or we can be knocked down and get back up and figure out the plan.
In mid-March, Founding Farmers began developing recipes, designing packaging, and building an e-commerce platform. By April 4th, they had launched Founding Farmers Market and Grocery.
We've been adding jobs, one by one by one by one, and each one of those jobs we add. You make that phone call, you send that text message, come on back. We've hired almost 500 people back, and our plan is to keep growing and keep bringing those jobs back and bringing folks back into the workforce.
I asked, I don't know when you guys are reopening, but when's the next order going out? It happened to just be a couple weeks. That was like a huge weight off my chest. They support the family. We were able to pay all of our bills and keep going on with our day.
Founding Farmers and the relationships they'd built didn't just allow them to support the farmers, suppliers, processors, and employees they worked with. It also made it possible for them to keep their shelves stocked for customers.
The opening of the market for the community means a lot. They just had the things that people needed, like fruits and vegetables, hand sanitizer. I like to purchase the honey. It's thick, it's good, you just gotta have it.
People are saying, well, how come your restaurants aren't out of pork? Or why aren't you out of eggs or meat or flour? I get to explain to people, I'm not out of pork because I'm not buying pork from a massive multinational corporation. So when they let all their workers get sick and they shut their plants down because of COVID, I'm just not involved. I know where my pork comes from. I know where our eggs come from. So not only do I still have these products on my menu, but I now get to really highlight the difference between what you put in your mouth, what you put in your body, and where your dollars are going to.
Knowing that it's owned by farmers and that they're being supported and the employees are being supported and our food is fresh as can be, like that matters.
And while grocery prices across the U.S. rose, founding farmers were able to rely on their system to keep their prices down.
You can have tens of thousands of miles in this supply chain that actually degrades the product and adds to the cost, but never gives more money to the original farmer or producer. With our processor that we use, which is Seven Hills, based in Virginia, we've taken thousands and thousands of miles, and we've sort of eliminated that from the chain. And we've also taken out profit margin and markup from this distributor and this buyer and this packager and this reseller. All of those markup levels, they just hurt the original farmer and they hurt the end consumer. We're able to really shorten that chain. Better for the farmer, better for the diner, better for the animal, better for the planet.
In a small system, everybody can make a living, not having as many links in it. More of that consumer food dollar goes into the hands of the farmer without having to price out the consumer. It's a win-win that way because everybody is in it together, from the consumer all the way down to the farmer.
The way that the consumer can fight back, represent themselves, is you got to have some relationships. The store manager at the grocery store, the chef at the restaurant you go to, you can ask these questions. Who owns the land? Where does the profit go? And what are the other consequences of the production? Your questions eventually bubble up and they affect managers and chefs and purchasing managers and bosses. Go that extra step, understand what you buy and who you buy it from and who you're supporting. Because if you put in the time, you'll end up happier with the role that you play in the food system.